Iron deficiency chlorosis in soybeans. Darren, what is it and where do we have problems with it?
Well, a lot of people mistakenly think that, oh, that just means I'm short of iron. I need to add more iron out there. That's going to make all the difference in the world. That's not necessarily the case. Well, what's happening, we normally see iron deficiency chlorosis in areas of fields that have one of several conditions: high pH, high soluble salt levels, poorly drained soils, and a lot of times all of those factors come together in one spot and we have the perfect storm and our beans just are a disaster out there.
All right, let's get real specific here. Soil pH of what? How high is high? What's bad?
Well, I would say a pH, once you get above about a 7.3, so you start talking 7.4 and above, nutrients start to become less available when you get into that high pH area. So when you get your pH back in line, it can make a lot of difference in what nutrients are available and what forms of those nutrients are available.
Okay, so we used to think that that was the only thing. If you had high pH, you're going to have iron deficiency chlorosis, that's it. But you talked about some of the other factors. Let's get more into those.
All right, when we look at salts, we're mainly concerned with soluble salts. So I know on your soil test, sometimes it's confusing. You see a sodium level like in base saturation or somewhere else in your test, and you say, well, my sodium isn't high, and that's part of a salt, isn't it? Well, yeah, but it's not necessarily just sodium. A lot of times it's a poor drainage area in a field because some of these soluble salts, soluble means that they can get into solution in the water and they could just flush out if you had good drainage in your soil.
I'm glad you brought up the drainage thing because that's exactly what I'm going to go back to on the soil pH side as well. So if you've got high soil pH and you have high salt levels, I can almost guarantee you've got a drainage issue on your farm. You have to get that fixed.
The other thing that we're seeing a lot in these areas is high nitrate levels. So you have maybe a little dip in the field and you have any excess nitrogen that ends up settling down into that low area and you have poor drainage. Once again, you can't let that nitrogen out. Now you're going to have a problem with your field. So you may adjust your fertility program and adjust your drainage. And by the way, I should mention how you know if you have iron deficiency chlorosis. When it gets bad, you will actually see it on the leaves of the plant and you'll see interveinal yellowing. So the veins on the leaf will still be green and you'll see the tissue in between those veins turning yellow. Now you could have plants that are green for the first few leaf stages and then all of a sudden the yellow will show up. It may show up at different times of the year, and there are some different things you want to look for on picking the right soybean varieties to overcome it.
Okay, so picking the right soybean varieties is a key, but I kind of look at this soybean variety thing as a Band-Aid approach. In other words, it's not going to fix the cause of the problem, but it's going to solve the issue for today or for this year. But unfortunately, instead of being able to pick from thousands of different varieties, there are only a few that can really handle bad iron deficiency chlorosis. The other Band-Aid approach, as I look at it, is you can go out and put a whole slug of iron on if you want to. Make sure you use the right form, by the way.
It doesn't take that much. It doesn't take that much. You use something like green bean or soy green. I mean, some of these different types of products that have a special form of chelated iron that is more available for the plants, and it works in these situations. It can keep them green, and like you say, try and get you through the year, that kind of thing.
But to wrap this thing up, I just wanted to say, solve the root cause of the problem. And the root cause of the problem here is poor drainage. So if you fix the drainage over a long period of time, your soil pH will go down. Over a short period of time, your soluble salts will go down, your nitrate will go down, and then you will be much less likely to have iron deficiency chlorosis.
One other thing you can eliminate with careful management is our weed of the week. We'll show you how to control this tough weed later in the show.